Hi, everybody. I'm Marcy Fortnow from Engaging Play, and I'm about to share with you a very important tip for improving your virtual meetings. Think of a recent virtual meeting that was not so good, one you couldn't wait to get off of. What was it about it that drove you crazy? What made you feel irritated or uncomfortable? For me, it was the ridiculous background noise from people who didn't know to mute themselves. Another time, it was a really social, interpersonal meeting, and half the people weren't on camera. I think people assume that by now everyone knows proper etiquette, but that's not really true. And the good news is that it's possible to create agreements for behavior for your virtual meetings so that we all understand and respect what the gathering should look like. That is so important for your meetings to run smoothly and on purpose. Virtual meeting norms are the agreements made by the participants of a meeting about the expected code of conduct. It's the agreed upon behavior. It seems that when we met in the office or a conference room, most people knew how to behave, but now virtually, you have people not paying attention, eating, having outside conversations, and typing goodness knows what. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually really like meetings. Meetings are meant to bring out the best ideas from each participant. Meetings help us connect and build trust. Meetings move ideas into commitment and action. Having ground rules for meetings helps you do this efficiently. As a facilitator, I always took the time to set up expectations before in-person meetings, especially if they were large, meaning more than 8 people, or long, meaning more than an hour, or they were being conducted in an unusual way, like retreats or training or team building sessions. Establishing meeting agreements are extra important when the participants are being required to think differently, because they might forget or lose track of regularly agreed upon behavior. Virtual meetings can tick all these features. They can be large. I think my Zoom limit is 100 on my pro account. They can feel long. An hour feels very long in a virtual environment. And the very nature of a virtual environment is unusual. You're at home, you might lack privacy, the technology can be challenging, and we are in stressful times. Now, I could go on, but I think you all know that the way we are interacting now is different. Without meeting norms, meetings can be unproductive and hard to get through. With agreements, we can pay attention to the content, participate freely, and the engagement is much more pleasurable. So I'm going to do a quick screen share and show you some of my favorite meeting norms that I think, these are ones that I think would be particularly good for online meetings. So the first thing is always have a purpose that everyone understands. Super important agreement. Number 2, pre-test the technology if it's new. The next one is find a quiet place without interruptions and noise. Show up on time and come prepared. Use the mute button to prevent background noise especially important in large meetings, or in small meetings, I recommend that we don't use the mute button so that people stay engaged. Speak up or raise your hand if you have something to say. Turn your video on whenever possible and be camera ready. Do not multitask during the meeting. Listen actively and ask clarifying questions. And finally, stay on point and on time. Have the members of your next meeting add to this list so they're co-creating, agreeing, and owning the meeting norms. Better yet, have your team create agreements from scratch, and you can use it like a team building. I can confidently say that if people create the agreements, they are much more likely to follow them. I'd love to hear your preferences and your ideas, so be sure to post your favorite meeting norms below. Okay, let me stop the share. And just remember, each kind of meeting can have their own norms. So allow the group to establish them at the beginning of the meeting and be sure to send them out on the agenda for any future meetings. Confirm often that they are still appropriate. Finally, be sure to reinforce positive behaviors like following these norms, which can improve the experience for everyone involved. If you found this helpful and are looking for more tips on running successful virtual meetings, or you'd like help facilitating your next meeting or event, contact me, Marcy Fortnow, at engagingplay.com. Thanks and see you soon. Stay safe and know we're all connected.